Hello, my name is Bill Benning. Thanks for inviting me. I'm going to try to keep my remarks within the 2.5 minute time limit, and some of this is in response to the set of questions that I got emailed today, or at least I took off. Tracy emailed me today about some questions, so I wanted to pick up just a few of those and to some of the things that some of these other people have spoken to. I worked here, I taught here for 38 years, and for the first 4 or 5 years, we didn't have a union here. These are quasi-professional, these are college teachers. And we were blessed to have a union here for the last 30-some years that I worked here. And I think that the union here for the professionals, since that is part of the name of the group, is that due process was as important, if not more important, than the money in the unionization of the faculty. And I got a sense during the discussions, overheard, people really don't see you when you're old, but when you would listen to the younger faculty talk, I don't know that they appreciated the due process benefit of the union that exists here, that they're talking about the money and this, that, and the other thing. I don't know that I think they thought, some of them suspected things would work the same way, and they're going to be greatly surprised if we lose the unions. And I want to segue to another point, and that is that this is a big surprise to me. I don't know if it is to John or the rest of the panel. Was this Quinnipiac poll on its right to work question in Ohio by this group? They've already got their language approved. Now I don't know. I think they're Liberty League or Tea Parties or somebody, and I don't really know who's behind them. But they said they're not going to go. They're not going to go on the ballot in November. They're going to go. So we might have another issue 2 battle coming. I'm surprised at that because I thought we settled this. Senate Bill 5, issue 2. We're done with this. Right to work would not move forward. But the Quinnipiac poll is disturbing because it suggests, I want to see some more polling data. I have it if you want to discuss it. I have the demographics of the poll. I was curious. And I'm not going to bring it up now unless somebody really wants to talk about it. It's really not what I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to bring that up, that we may be back in that fight again. But I did, just as an aside, want to bring up the due process benefit of unionization. Is often overlooked by, quote, professionals. What I wanted to stir the pot over, which I think some of the other, I think Roland mentioned, somebody mentioned, was this Senate House Bill 194 that's going to go on the ballot. And I have an analysis of the bill that you can get. The internet's wonderful today because you can go in and get this is the legislative analysis of the bill. So it's a summary of what the bill that passed offers us if it were to go into law, but it's been challenged by a referendum. I don't know if the referendum has gotten the signatures.
It has.
You're on the ballot. So that's a good thing. I am with the bill. I was with the Board of Elections. Some of you might remember my checkered past. I was a Republican member of the Board of Elections with the esteemed Don Hanai in the 80s. And so I have a little sense of how elections are conducted, and I am not totally unsympathetic to shrinking the time of the opportunity to get the ballots, but that is, I think, overshadowed by, and I think that the opponents win with the voter suppression argument that it doesn't require. I mean, one of the questions was on does it require photo ID? It doesn't require photo ID. The bill, as it pretends, as it's offered in Ohio, does not require a photo ID, which is voter suppression, because it means if you don't drive, you don't have a photo ID. I don't know where you're going to get a photo ID if you don't drive. So certainly, a lot of people would be excluded from voting, and already have to go through a big song and dance to get some kind of photo ID to be able to vote. So clearly, the photo ID is. I think that was one of the questions. And so, as a political scientist, I would say, yeah, they're trying to discourage people from voting. Republicans typically think they should discourage people from voting. They have a better chance of winning. Democrats think the same thing. That is, that the more people that vote, the better we'll do. So they have opposite opinions. So that the Republicans do, and that's been going on for a long time. That was the case with the registration argument. If you remember, years ago, I remember when I was more active, George H.W. Bush vetoed the motor voter bill because he believed that if we made registration more available, that more people would vote and Democrats would do better. And so we should not allow that. And then when Clinton came in, they had Democratic majority, and so they were able to pass the bill and got the motor voter bill. We're not arguing over registration anymore. Now we're arguing over this period in which people can vote, how long you can vote, and what's required to vote. One of the things that, and I'm glad you invited me, because I wouldn't have looked at this if you didn't invite me, but one of the things that disturbs me about this bill and why I'll be voting, well, how am I supposed to vote no? One of the reasons I'll be voting is this use of the Social Security number. This is what the Legislative Service says. It says, requires a person who uses Social Security number as ID under the election law to provide the full 9 digits of that number instead of the last 4 digits. Now, I do that. I vote absentee, and I give the last 4 digits of my Social Security. I don't want to give people and we've gone to great lengths here at Youngstown State that we don't use Social Security numbers. We have Banner. Students have a separate numerical identity with letters, et cetera, so that the Social Security number is not used anymore. We used it years ago. But that concerns me, this use of the Social Security. I'm personally concerned about it, that they want me to turn over my whole Social Security number to these people. Now, they do say, secondly, that they're going to redact that, but I mean, what assurance, if they're going to redact, what assurance do you have that the redactor's not going to copy it down before they redact it? So there is a second part of it where they offered to redact it in the language, but that really caught my attention. I don't know if you knew that was in there or not. I did not know that was in there on this Social Security thing, and I find that very disconcerting, this use of the full Social Security number in terms of invasion of privacy, given the great lengths that we go through. I don't want to go on anymore. I just wanted to stir that up a little bit, and we can talk more about that if you have an interest in any of those questions. I don't claim to be an expert on this. I'm not unsympathetic to the idea that the election period might be too long, as 30-some days, but I don't think this bill is a remedy to the problems that we have with the existing legislation, which, incidentally, Republicans would have voted for because it's new law, and Republicans have had the majority since Harry Michel left the Senate in the 80s. So the Republicans passed existing law, and now they're trying to come up with this. So now they're trying to limit what they had given out in the earlier legislation. So, but at any rate, well, I was taken by the Social Security argument, so I'll stop talking.